Like, share, subscribe, dislike, comment below. Make sure you hit that like button, man. Make sure you hit that dislike button. Only way I'm gonna get better is you let me know what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong. Criticism don't make me lash out or do no corny shit, block you, and no. You know what I'm saying? But if you troll with me, I'm gonna troll with you. You feel me? But pat yourselves on the back, bro. If you got up today and made you a bowl of cereal and that shit spilled over, you should be laughing at that. I know it's fucking annoying. You was ready to eat. You was hungry. But I'm telling you, you can make another bowl of cereal. Me, I prefer a cup. I ain't ate a bowl of cereal and I don't know when. I literally eat my cereal in a big ass cup, a big ass, McDonald's cup or something. But let's get straight to it. Let's get on the iconic, one and only, Goldberg. Goldberg. Yeah, he's a one-on-one, man. Goldberg debuted September 22nd, 97. And he blew up by the end of 98. And the rest was history. Just happened to be around the same time Stone Cold was the man at this time. And a lot of people thought at that time, oh, that's WCW trying to counterattack, trying to be counterproductive, you know what I'm saying? By having a bald guy in black trunks, black boots, the generic look that Stone Cold made work. But boy, was we all wrong. Goldberg was a one of a kind. He set his own standard. He set the standard. Before him, there were other standards. They were Andre the Giant. He was undefeated for like 15 years, never got lifted off his feet. I mean, as far as the story goes, I think he was lifted off his feet before that, but it doesn't matter, right? That's the greatness about kayfabe. You can make it whatever you want it to be. So Andre the Giant, and then you had Ultimate Warrior, that was a dominant force. Hulk Hogan, even in his own right, was a dominant force. Undertaker, dominant force. Yokozuna, dominant force. But like nobody, even before or after Goldberg was like Goldberg. You get what I'm saying? Goldberg set a new standard of the Mike Tyson of professional wrestling. If you don't know your history, I suggest you go back and watch Mike Tyson's greatest hits and just some of his fights. This motherfucker was knocking niggas out in like 90 seconds, bro. And most of his opponents was towering over Mike Tyson. That's what made it so impressive. Tyson's like way bigger than he used to be. Like he's a lot bigger. You know what I'm saying? But Tyson in his 20s, he was a big dude, but he was not bigger than most of his opponents. That's what was so impressive. And we never seen nothing like Tyson. Where it just, every fight, he was just knocking niggas the fuck out. This was Goldberg. He was literally just beating niggas down under 5 minutes. And then he just kept going and going and going. And nobody ever seen nothing like that. Now, me, myself, I didn't catch on to Goldberg until like 2003 when he showed up in the WWE against Hollywood Rock, which is one of the most entertaining, fun versions of the Rocks I've ever seen since the final Boss Rock. That was when I caught on to Goldberg. Because I was a kid when the Monday Night Wars was happening. This was what, 5, 6, 7. So I only knew about anything because my brother was telling me. We had all the action figures. He was a big wrestling fan. He's the reason why I'm a wrestling fan. You feel me? So I do remember though as a kid, Goldberg versus DDP. I think Halloween Havoc. And was this 99, I think. It's got to be 99, because I think it was for the world title. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that's the one where it got cut off air. I think that was the one. But, my brother's favorite wrestler at the time was DDP. But he was telling me about this Goldberg dude that, like, bro, he beats everybody in, like, 2 minutes and shit. You know what I'm saying? So as a kid, this is mesmerizing. So fast forward when I start really digging into professional wrestling in 2003, when I was watching faithfully, didn't want to miss a show. Goldberg comes around, and I remember between 2003 and 4, which is a very short tenure, he made a huge impact. He won the world title, and that Goldberg at that time was probably the best looking Goldbergs, where as far as like his visuals, how he looked like a fucking escaped convict killer or some shit, bro. He had the big fuzzy beard. He had the black and white trunks and shit, jacked to the ceiling. Like, this motherfucker looked terrifying, bro. He already looked terrifying in the 90s and shit, but early 2000s, dude, this motherfucker looked crazy with that big fuzzy beard. If you know, you know. But just back to Goldberg, he set the standard because Brock Lesnar at that time, it was a big match being built up for WrestleMania 20, which is one of the most disastrous matches ever because everybody knew they was leaving. So you couldn't enjoy it the way you want to enjoy it, even though the match was actually still entertaining if you block out the crowd, which is kind of hard to do. But even Brock Lesnar was compared to Goldberg at the time. Anybody that showed a level of just immense dominance, immeasurable, unmovable object type of shit, how Goldberg was, you was compared to Goldberg. So even Brock Lesnar was compared to Goldberg. Of course, Brock, molded into his own thing down the line, but Goldberg is the reason why Jade Cargill exists. Asuka at the beginning, when Asuka came from NXT, she was on the feed for like 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Because they was even comparing her. Remember, the Marks was mad at Goldberg for saying something about her streak or some shit, right? Anybody after Goldberg is just completely washing niggas. Ryback, Warlow, anybody, you gonna get compared to Goldberg. Even Samoa Joe back in Ring of Honor, early TNA days, he was just unbeatable. It seemed like he was compared to Goldberg. So Goldberg, man, I say thank you, Goldberg, for all his contributions. I know a lot of people, even myself, when Goldberg used to come back and he beat Kevin Owens, he beat The Fiend. I was mad about these things. I was definitely mad about The Fiend more than anything. I was mad about Kevin Owens too. He just blew him out. But in the end of the day, thank goodness we had something like Goldberg. And I know the marks is going to be, he couldn't wrestle and he couldn't talk, which was bullshit. He could talk. He could wrestle because it worked for his gimmick. That's the part y'all don't understand. Y'all say somebody can't wrestle or can't talk. If it works for them and it gets them over, then how they can't wrestle or talk? Make that make sense. You don't have to be Dean Malenko to get over. Why Dean Malenko didn't get over then? Put those two together. Why Dean Malenko didn't get over like a Goldberg if he had to wrestle like Dean Malenko? All right then. So he can wrestle. He could talk. And guess what worked for him the most over Dean Malenko? He had the size. He had the believability. He had the intensity like no other. That's why. So yes, he could wrestle. You go back and watch some of his WCW matches. You gonna sit here and tell me he couldn't wrestle? All because he accidentally injured Bret Hart, which is a complete accident, bro. I'm not hearing Goldberg purposely did that. He did that kick in a bunch of matches and didn't injure nobody. That just happened to be one of those fucked up days. It just connected. You know what I'm saying? So I don't blame Goldberg for that. That was just a mishap. It was a mistake. But other than that, though, man, I think Goldberg was great for what he's done for the business. He was one of the biggest stars of all time. What the fuck are you talking about? He was the big reason why WCW stayed afloat for a long time, regardless of how they booked him down the line. But, of course, though, back to my Jade Cargill video, go check it out when I was defending Jade Cargill. WWE, and this is about to bring up more of a recent situation with WWE versus WCW. When he went to WWE, they kind of exposed him for not being able to hold a long match, right? But he still got over. He still defeated the odds. He still was a draw. He's still one of the biggest draws. Right? Why do you think they brought him back recently? But this goes back to WCW versus WWE. Why they cut my guy's retirement speech off? You telling me you couldn't give that man an extra 15 minutes? You couldn't throw that in? Is it still the WCW versus WWE bullshit to this day? Y'all won. Y'all have literally buried every WCW top guy you could. You tried to bury Goldberg. It didn't work. But you've buried every WCW top star they ever had. When is it ever enough? Or am I just tripping? That's conspiracy. I don't know, but Goldberg couldn't even finish his fucking speech. This is Goldberg, bro. He has fought pretty much everybody that ever mattered. There's a few dream matches I wish we could have gotten. We'll get on that at the end before we end this. But I just think that was just kind of weird. He didn't even get chance to end his speech, against Gunther, which was actually a pretty okay match to me. I thought the match was going to be a lot quicker than it was, but it was a pretty okay match to me because I don't expect a Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam type of match from Goldberg. No. If you're watching Goldberg, you got to understand this shit could be over at any given time. That was his gimmick. That's what made him special. That's what made him him. That's why he set the standard for future dominant stars. Who was they comparing Brian Breaker to not too long ago? When he first came, he was just wrecking shit. Goldberg. Goldberg's a 1-1, man. So I want to thank Goldberg. He deserved everything he got. The United States Championships, the WCW World titles, the WWE titles, all that shit, man. So I want to thank Goldberg just in general, putting on those boots, putting his body on the line. He may not have had a tenure where he was 5, 6, 7 years straight, but it don't matter. He was a special attraction like nobody else, and people after him is always going to be compared to Goldberg, no matter what. People are always going to be compared to Goldberg if you showing those level of dominance, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to end this video with some of the dream matches I wish personally we could have got. I wish we could have got Kurt Angle versus Goldberg. Definitely in 2003 and 4, when Kurt Angle was still and Goldberg was younger and fresh. I wish we could have got that. It would have been interesting. I wish we could have got Goldberg versus Cena. And since this is Goldberg and Cena's last year, by the way, end of an era for Goldberg, man. Damn. But it is what it is, man. But I wish we could have got Goldberg versus Cena. You tell me that wouldn't have been hype? If Cena would have beat Goldberg, retired Goldberg before he retired? Come on now. Just those names alone will shatter glass. You feel me? John Cena versus Goldberg. I wish we could have got Samoa Joe versus Goldberg. I know they was never in the same company at the same time. Well, yes they was, I think. But, Goldberg was also, they had Goldberg and Joe in different levels of the card, but that was just a personal one of mine. AJ versus Goldberg been very interesting. It's not really many, though, but Goldberg, thank you for everything. And end of an era. I hope Goldberg live out the rest of his life. Do everything he want to do in his future endeavors. Not only to mention he was a movie star and all that shit. So Goldberg was the shit, man. So one last time, the only one that had his own type of chant as well, his music, his interests, all that shit was just iconic. Nobody's gonna be like Goldberg ever again. So one last time, Goldberg, Goldberg, Goldberg. Thank you. We out.